Hey everybody.
Hey folks.
So we are running behind already.
We're not running behind that much.
I don't know. I'm feeling a little bit like I'm putting myself under too much pressure. How about that? And
this is going to be fine.
It'll be fine. I'm upset about the jelly. What can I say?
We had tea jelly issues.
Yeah. Hey Specky, how's it going?
Hey Specky.
So the jelly has not set, which I am
Raged about.
Ooh, it's really bright in the other room.
Turn the upper light off.
Then I'm worried it'll be too dark. Well, let's try this. Yeah, see.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Nice try. I think it's too bright in the living room, and it's kind of, we're gonna have to keep this tilted a little bit more towards moi as a result. I have chocolate and tea and raw jelly cubes. Can I borrow some? Maybe they will work here. I'll show you what's going on. So, this is the first batch of tea jelly. It's still completely a liquid. That didn't work. This is the second batch I made this morning and cooled down. It's a little more viscous, but it's still not... That's a fork. Okay. I hope I have teaspoons today. I'm going to be eating things with my hands. It's still... Ooh, well, it's pretty thick, but it's...
It's kind of gravy right now.
It would make a fascinating soak for the cake, but it's not what I would call jelly. I'm going to leave it in the fridge. What's my tasting spoon? Remind me it's in my pocket.
The tasting spoon is in your pocket.
We had to go out to the store and pick up eggs today anyway, because we ate the last of them for breakfast. So I bought a bag of ice.
Totally worth it.
And I may try force cooling a third batch a bit later. I can't figure out what the variable is that I've messed up or that has gone awry, and it is vexing me. So until I've resolved it, I'm not going to be happy.
But the good news,
however, is the lemon curd. I mean, it's not even moving, and it tastes amazing, and it's nice and solid. So that's working just fine. Alistair's suggestion was, instead of using the pectin, to try and use some actual powdered gelatin instead. And
you're considering it.
I'm giving it some thought.
Yeah.
I don't know what the ratio of bloomed sheet gelatin to liquid is.
Would you like me to be your research assistant on this?
No, you have plenty else to do today. I can do the research on it.
And yet here I am in an apron, ready to assist.
Really sweet. He's being very sweet. I'm being a little fussy. So.
You're not. It's fine.
Hi everybody. So to recap, this is day 2 of the ridiculously ambitious Arnold Palmer cake. Let me see if I've got the link.
That is intriguing.
What's going on?
Tea jelly, when you put it through Google, auto-completes to tea jelly recipe gelatin.
Interesting. So I'm going to try and put the, this is, ooh, that was my, there's no insert key on this keyboard. No, that's the wrong button. Sorry. Hey, how you doing, Adele? Yes, this is a
Hey, Adele.
This is a 3-day build. This is day 2. Last night we made, I'm trying to put the recipe in there.
Lemon curd and...
There we go. This is an Arnold Palmer cake. So yesterday we made the bitter tea soak for part of the cake. What was supposed to be the bitter tea jelly, it did not set overnight. I made another batch first thing this morning. That is also not set. I may try a third later today and force chill it with ice. We also made the lemon curd. That's going to get mixed into mascarpone as one of the filling layers. And we made... Oh, yeah, the candied peel. I should check that.
I've got a lead for you.
Yeah.
I'm looking at a recipe for black tea jelly, which is basically what we're trying to make, yeah? Look at the curd. Check that out.
No, this is the candy. Oh! I just dumped it out on my keyboard. Do you want ads? Because this is how you get ads. So I made candied citrus peel. And it looks really good, but it is too big. I was a size queen, and I should have chopped it down into smaller pieces. But this cake doesn't involve any decoration, so I decided I was going to make some. And it's in a container with sugar, so that you can go like that. It's really fun.
Okay, so this recipe calls for 2 cups of your favorite black tea, strongly brewed and cooled to room temperature. Half an ounce of powdered gelatin,
half an ounce?
Yeah.
Powdered gelatin. I don't know if we have powdered gelatin, but I can do a conversion.
Quarter cup of sugar. Sprinkle the gelatin evenly over the tea. Let it soften for about 5 minutes. Put a kettle on to boil. When the water boils, measure out 1.5 cups and stir in the sugar until it dissolves. Add the tea and gelatin and stir until the gelatin dissolves, about a minute. Then.
Okay. I might try it that way.
Do you want me to push this recipe across to you so you've got it?
Yeah, not right now, because what we're doing right now is I have to bake the cake, and then the cake has to cool, and then what we're going to do around 6 o'clock tonight is we're going to attempt to assemble all of this together. And then it's supposed to freeze overnight to set all the layers, and then it defrosts in the refrigerator before you're ready to eat it. So that's tomorrow, which is my actual birthday. So today is day 2 of the prep, with day 3 being... Is the stream marked mature still? Oh no. Oops, I forgot about that. No, it just means I can swear with a little more, just.
Fucking A.
There we go.
All right.
It was marked mature because of Wednesday night's horror podcast stream, and I haven't updated it yet, so, okay. Wow, my hair.
Shocking left turn into extended baking.
Extended baking. So what we're going to do now is we are going to bake the cake so that it can cool for the rest of the afternoon, and then this evening we're going to attempt to put this all together. It'll be fine. I'm just dressing up the tea jelly because it's the top layer of the cake. It counts as the decoration, and so I'm frustrated that it hasn't set. So we are going to use my big old stand mixer.
This thing is an absolute warrior.
It moved. What, can people see it?
Yeah, look, see.
It moved from the U.S. with us, which is why it's on a power converter.
Power converters.
There we go. Okay.
I love you.
I love you, sir. You're such a nerd. Okay, so let me go over the tea part of the recipe here. Hush now. So 8 tablespoons butter, which, as we figured out last night, 34 is 120 grams, which was about half of this. This is just unsalted Tesco butter. Yay. 1.5 cups of sugar. Okay. A reminder for the chat. We are using American volumetric measurements, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to weigh them after I've measured them so I can give you grams. 2 eggs, 2 egg yolks, which is why we had to go to the store. 1/3 cup of a neutral oil. I'm going to use vegetable oil. I don't like using any of the high smoke point oils or any of the allergen oils in recipes. Vegetable oil works just fine, same as canola. 1/2 cup of buttermilk. My house is never without buttermilk. I have Polish relatives, thanks. 1/4 cup of lemon juice. I'm going to put you to work for that. It calls for lemon extract, but that's overdoing it. 1.5 cups of cake flour. Okay, so let's go over this. Here's what's left of the sugar. Here is cake flour. So cake flour is sometimes also called pastry flour in this country. It's a low gluten percentage flour, which means it'll make the cake more crumbly and soft, as opposed to something like a bread where you want gluten to develop that really chewy structure. So I bought cake flour. 9 bags of Lipton black tea bag leaves. So that means you can give me a hand with this. I need 9 of these guilty bad boys cut and put into a little container. And all the little containers are probably in the dishwasher.
That's fine. We have bowls.
We have bowl. We have a bowl. Here, use a pretty bowl. use one of the dessert bowls. There we go. I need 9 of those.
And I get to mutilate some tea.
Mutilate the tea instead.
I'm very...
9 of those. And then baking powder and salt. Can you grab the baking powder and the sugar from... Should we show everybody the baking cart?
Yeah, you should.
Can you bring it on around? Okay, so... we have this little guy from IKEA, which has got all... we love to cook. So that is all our... This way a little bit more. Ta-da! Yeah, that's where we keep all of our baking supplies. So flours and salts and sugars. The whole top rack is spices. Hello! Hi, Pablo. How you doing? There is no liquid smoke in this recipe. Nice try. This is a cake, yes.
White sugar?
White sugar. What's left of it. And then I need baking powder. It's the pink one, I think. And I've got the cake flour. Woohoo! It's just went everywhere. And I've got the salt, buttermilk, oil, yolks, sugar, butter. Awesome. Cool.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah, it works really, really well. It's from IKEA. And if you have a small kitchen and you like to bake like we do, we just put everything on it and it lives in a corner and it's really easy to literally just roll around behind the island and it's got everything on it.
I felt insufferably vindicated a couple of months back when Joshua Weissman, who is one of the YouTube chefs we really like, very clearly has one of these troubles.
Yeah. They're like, in the UK, they're like 35, 40 pounds from IKEA. They come in a bunch of different colors. They're like powder-coated aluminum. You cannot destroy them by conventional means.
It's like the Keith Richards of furniture. You know?
And, we even bought some of those little like clip-on bin things that go on the outside for things like really big spice containers that don't fit really well in it. And it just, everything is all there all together. It's really convenient. Jack says that we're building our kitchen supplies, etc., and you're giving us so many ideas. Look at Nisbets, Nisbets. Oh, they're in the UK. I don't know if they're in the US. Find yourself a restaurant supply house because you will get higher quality stuff frequently in bigger quantities and for cheaper. For example, we have to line the baking pans with parchment paper. I buy the big industrial boxes, the catering size boxes of it, and it comes on a giant roll. And
lasts about 4 months.
Lasts forever, and then you just cut off the size of it you want. The thing I do miss is that in the US, when it comes to baking sheets and stuff, they're all very standardized, and you can buy like packages of pre-cut stuff, so it's all done and fits and perfect. And I do kind of miss that, but this is kind of the next best thing, which is how we do it. I need a quarter cup of lemon juice. So can I have you work on that?
Could
and then
you also... So I have scissors, I have tea bag.
9 tea bags, and then I'm gonna have you juice a bunch of lemons like you did last time.
No worries.
Here's this, and here's that. Thank you. The other thing I'm gonna do is heat up the oven. It's 350. Okay. This is a U.S. recipe. This deals with a conventional oven. A conventional oven means it has heat coming either from the top or the bottom or both, but it does not have a fan that circulates air within the oven. This is a convection oven, which is standard in the UK, which does have a fan that circulates the air. So I have to adjust for a little bit. What I tend to do is I tend to turn the temperature down a little bit, and I cut my cooking time for usually about 5 to 10%, because you can, and then I just check it early. And then if it needs a little bit longer, fine, but you can't unbake it if you overbake it. So this calls for 350 Fahrenheit.
You baked it. You can't unbake it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. 9 of these, yeah?
9 of the tea bags, yeah. So this is the other one of those little magnets I have. And this has all the temperature conversions. It also has the gas marks, but this isn't a gas oven, so. Exactly. So 315 Fahrenheit is 180 Celsius. So I'm going to set my oven for 175. And then the baking time on this is 30 minutes. So I'm going to set a timer for probably 22 and then test it and see if it needs any more, because we can always let it go longer. Cool. And I'm going to put these underneath. Loud noise, sorry. So yeah, 175. I want that to heat. Cool. You're doing lemon juice?
Lemon juice and tea.
Okay, so this is kind of what I would call a standard sponge. So you start with creaming the butter and the sugar. I'm really sorry, but there's not much I'm going to be able to do about the stand mixer noise. So for a couple minutes, I'm going to have to talk over it, or I'll just pretend to say things and you can practice your lip reading skills. So let me grab my scale. When we went with, this is the other half of that butter we used yesterday, so it should be just about 120 grams anyway.
6. That's cooking butter and eating butter.
Cooking butter. Yeah, we call it cooking butter and eating butter. unsalted and unsalted. This is 126, which is fine. I'm going to shave a little tiny bit of it off, and I'll use that to butter the... Ooh, I have an alarm going off on my phone. It's probably telling us to have lunch. Can you go grab that?
Yeah, sure, 1 second.
Sorry.
Just in the middle of one processing.
Yeah, that's fine. So that's 120 grams, and I'm just going to...
Did you find over there?
I think it's on the coffee table, yeah. I'm just going to honk it up. That's a technical term, honk. And we'll throw it in the stand mixer. See? Technical. Honk. And then I'll use the rest of that to butter the pan later. And then we need 1.5 cups of sugar. And again, I will weigh this as I measure it so that you have a gram's measurement. Oh, I may have plugged it in on the side of the bed. Right, so in the US, they tell you to use what's called the scoop and sweep method. So to be really fancy about that, what you do is you overfill the sucker, and then you take a flat surface like a knife, and you even it off and sweep off the excess. So that would be 1/2 cup. We need 1.5 cups, so I'm going to do this. I did 4-H when I was a kid, which is like a regional organization. And one of the things that you could do as a senior person in 4-H is baking demonstrations. And they judge you on things like how you measure your flour and have you put water on to soak for your dirty dishes. And I didn't do very well, but I had fun. So that is 313 grams of sugar, just plain old granulated. So you could call it about 310. I think you'd be good. You could probably even just call it 300 and you'd be good. We're going to beat the tar out of this, so paddle attachment.
You want to grab me a knife, a bowl, and a squisher when you get them.
Knife, a bowl, and a squisher. Can I set this on to start first?
Of course you can.
Cool. Here we go. Oh, I just stuck my fingers in the tea.
Sorry, I should have told you it was there.
Oh, that looks all artisanal
Look at
and
that.
pretty.
Look, it's all fancy.
Fancy. All right, I'm going to put this on. Funk. What? Medium-ish, you think?
We have a fellow 4-H veteran in the chat.
Oh, nice. Well done. My mom's generation raised animals, and I did all the cooking and craft stuff. So, there we go. That's going to be a little noisy for a bit until it settles. It will also look alarming because this is a veteran and he's a little old, so he shakes back and forth a bit, but it's fine. Don't worry about it. You need a sharp knife, a cutting board, and what else?
The squisher.
The squisher.
And something to put on. You want the lemon juice in there?
Yeah, use that for the cutting board.
Cool. Very much.
Well, I knew the cutting board when you were done. I did the knife. Throw me the... Yeah.
Yeah. With idle.
Alright. Squisher. So I need a 1/4 cup. Start with that guy, and then see how much you get. Cool. So that's doing its thing. I'm going to prep the eggs because I got to separate some yolks out. But I will take a second and look at the chat and see if there's any questions. It does kind of sound like there's a party in the background. Alright, so eggs.
You want to grab me the former Arnold Palmer and I'll restate it as a garbage plug?
Yeah, I left it out. It's right here. There you go.
The trashy.
Trashy. The trashy bespoken. Yeah, okay, so that's all coming together. I'm going to put the spurs to it. Just try and get it all repeated nice. So it's going to get noisier, I'm sorry. I'm not going to have to scrape this down at all. Not yet, anyway. Let it dry out. Like that. It's getting there.
That's starting to look like about
Okay.
You want to do one more to be sure?
I don't think it could hurt, to be honest, because I'm sure we'll need lemon juice for something else in this cake that involves nothing but lemon and jelly that won't set! Yeah, I think that's about as good as it's going to come together. I'm going to leave it on medium while I separate the eggs. So, this calls for 2 eggs and 2 egg yolks. So, 2 eggs is easy. This is where they're going to wind up. But I use what's called the separation technique when I do eggs, so that if something goes wrong, you don't ruin the whole batch of it. That looks good. I think let's get it all ready to be exit, so we'll just turn it on so it's quiet. Right, so I got 2 eggs. Can I have the trash bowl, please? Let's park him right there.
The trash bowl.
2. We talked yesterday about cracking eggs. Right, now, I need 2 egg yolks. There's a lot of different ways you can do this. I'll show you the way I learned, which is called the French method, which is, I think, the easiest, which is you crack the egg in a bowl. You flick egg white on your iPad that's holding your recipe like a moron. Sorry, moron is a derivative term. Like a fool. And then just use your hands. Go in there, grab the yolk, let all the white fall off, and plop them in there. That's an easy way to do it. The other way to do it that I was taught, and I'm going to leave the other white in here because I don't care. He's not going anywhere, is you crack the egg, hopefully in half, and I've already biffed it. You try and pull it apart. See, there's shell in there. This is not going well. I'm not going to show you because I've messed it up already. Well, actually, it's working okay.
That's doing all right.
And the hope is that you basically let the white leak out. You pass the yolk back and forth between the 2 halves of the shell, or in this case, your hand.
You're doing great.
You let all the white fall off, and then you pop it in there. So that's 2 eggs and 2 egg yolks. What was the comment?
This is how to get my day started out here. Lovely chat, folks. Listen to Killer Baking. Thank you.
I'm glad the timings worked for everybody. This is... Well, we're having fun with this. We're experimenting. One of these days I might try getting the webcam set up here in the kitchen. I think we need multiple cameras, to be honest.
What you're saying is we need more equipment.
We have more equipment. We just need to move it in here, which is going to be a pita. Right.
Kitchen cam.
Kitchen cam. Okay, so now, after 2 or 3 minutes on medium speed, scrape it down. It doesn't need scraping down. And then add the eggs and egg yolks one at a time until they disappear. Cool? So I'm going to turn the mixer back on. It's going to be a little bit noisy. And then just one at a time, plop them in.
What, similar to looping, is a technical term.
Plop, loop, smidge, pinch. These are all very scientific terms. And I'm just watching it. You can't see. See, that's the other reason it'd be nice to have the camera where you can see down inside.
Like the guy on Munchies last night, awesome Mexican dude making chilaquiles.
Yeah.
With his buddy.
With a phone camera. Because that's the nice thing about a produced video, is you can cut back and forth between stuff like that. I'm going to turn this up just a little bit because I want to make sure it doesn't break. With the 2 eggs, and now we're adding the 2 egg yolks. Looks really nice. Just want to make sure it's nice and smooth. That looks pretty good. We'll see. So, the way I always learn to test this is what's called the creaming method, which is how you make most types of cookies. And the way I was always taught to test if you've got the eggs and the butter and the sugar fully incorporated is take a little bit of it between your fingers and rub it back and forth. You shouldn't be able to feel very much graininess. This is still a little grainy, so I'm going to let it go for a bit longer, and I am going to scrape it down. And I'm not going to put my fingers in my mouth, as tempted as I am, because these are our raw eggs. And
Nat says hi, by the way.
who says hi?
Nadine.
Hi, Nadine! Nadine is the one who should be doing this. She's an amazing baker, and I'm an enthusiast. Go to her website and buy her stuff.
I will drop Mother Fudger in the chat.
Yeah, we linked to Mother Fudger's US-UK equivalents last night because it's a really, really good reference.
And in fact, do you want to pull yeah.
Because Nadine makes these.
By hand.
These are called cruffins. So think cake pops, but truffles. These are the vanilla ones with rainbow sprinkles. The other ones that are in the freezer are peanut butter. And they're like my current favorite. I haven't tried the vanilla ones yet, but yeah, you want her stuff.
She is currently in a meeting, but Pablo has passed on her,
I appreciate it. All right. Oh, see, this looks much fluffier now. I'm happier about this. In fact, I'm going to skip it down, and then I'm probably going to let it go a little bit longer. Because I don't think there's any such thing as too fluffy when it comes to a cake. It's so fluffy! Exactly. Okay. So, I need a bowl to put that in. I'm going to put the eggs in. Let me rinse it out and I'll use it. Sorry for the noise. And hey, we can have egg whites for breakfast. We'll have scrambled eggs or something for breakfast.
There we go. Fine.
Cool. Okay. And I can get the egg white off my iPad, hopefully without messing up my recipe. Okay. So then it wants me to stream in the oil, the buttermilk, the lemon juice, and the lemon extract until everything is homogeneous and fluffy, which will take 5 to 6 minutes. Okay, so let's do that then. Turn that off. Let's do the other liquids. I need another measuring cup. Cool. So it wants to do 1/3 of a cup of vegetable oil. And with these small quantities, I'm gonna go volumetric because I think it's gonna be easier than volumetric. That's liquid. That's fine. So what is 1/3 of a cup? In milliliters. Okay, so what you work from in the U.S. is the old saying, a pint is a pound the world around, and a pint is 2 cups, and a pound is 16 ounces. So that's how the mnemonic you use to try and translate things. I don't have anything off the top of my head for volumetric liquid to milliliters, but Mother Fudger's site does. So I'm just going to do this by volumetric, and we'll go from there. So they want 1/3 of a cup of vegetable oil. You want 1/2 cup of buttermilk. I'm going to put that right in the sink. Can I have that lemon juice?
Right.
1/4 cup of lemon juice. And then I'll just use the thingamabobber, another technical term, for the buttermilk. I'm trying to put stuff away as I go, because otherwise it takes a while to clean the kitchen. And the buttermilk's in the fridge. I just want a 1/2 cup, which will probably kill off this container, which is just fine. Can you see the chat? Okay.
Yeah, our internet signal is officially getting stronger. I just downloaded and logged into Twitch on my iPad rather than running it through Twitter because.
Cool, but pause the video. That way you can watch the chat, but you don't need to be watching the video.
Oh, that's cool.
As well. Yeah, that's how I did it on Wednesday night when I was, because then if you're on a browser, go back in the fridge. You can go into moderator mode, which is quite convenient, I've learned. Right, so this is the liquid stuff. So this is the oil, the buttermilk, and the lemon juice, and we're going to stream this in there nice and slow like we did with the eggs to keep it nice and fluffy, and then we'll put together the dry ingredients. So noise again because the mixer's going back on. Give that a stir though. With a grapefruit spoon, sure, why not? That's me throwing it in the sink. Remind me when I sit down and chat with folks while we watch the cake, while we make the cake today, to recommend something to Jax if they're kitting out a new kitchen.
Will do.
I'm going to turn the speed up a little bit because I'm slightly concerned about how liquid this is. I just want to go slow. I don't want it to separate. Okay. There it goes. Okay, it's tightening up a bit more. That's good. I was worried it was going to be too goopy. Oh no, it's tightening up a lot now. Excellent, excellent. Always talk to your food. Tell it thank you. Tell it you love it.
Oh, wet spices is going to haunt my dreams, and not in a good way.
Wet spices?
Fun fact, Physician Jax, my terrible ex-roommate might used to call anything in the cabinet with the spices, oil, etc., wet spices.
You mean things like vinegar and sauces and
Yes.
stuff? It's an interesting nickname. Yeah, look, see, I'll show the chat this. I gotta turn it up just a little bit more to get the rest of this in.
Wet spices for the gluten.
Wet spices for the glutens. See, now if Pablo's gonna be watching this, I'm gonna have to do something that involves liquid smoke.
Some context for the other folks in the chat, by the way.
Sorry for the volume.
Mr. Pablo Cheesecake.
Turn the camera towards you while you do this again.
Who is one of our oldest, dearest friends.
My first friends, some of my first friends in the UK. Oh, you just minimized it. It's okay.
It's a touchscreen, and I'm not used to that.
Yes, so this computer's a touchscreen, and we've never had one before, and you got to be careful because we're not used to it. There we go. Tell them about liquid
Pablo
smoke.
is one of our oldest, dearest friends. He was, in fact, he and Nadine were our first friends in Nottingham when we moved back.
That's right.
And Pablo is a phenomenal human being. He's an amazingly gifted book reviewer, and he is absolutely convinced liquid smoke is not a thing. He's wrong. He is not wrong about many things, but on this, he is provably factually inexact.
Provably factually inexact. So this is all nice and soft and light and fluffy now. I'm going to give it a scrape and let it go a little bit longer because I want to make sure it's stable. It's really gloopy, but pretty. Here, I'll show you. Get it on me. That's what it looks like. It's
Observe the goo.
Light and soft and fluffy.
The tasty goo.
Well, I'm sure it's tasty because I'm about to taste it. Very lemony, which is good. Cool.
This, by the way, is an interesting function of a lot of Christina Tosi recipes. I mean, I make a lot of cookies because I love cookies, and
that way you don't have to eat a whole cake.
Exactly. And I've made a fair few of Tosi's cookie recipes. And the thing she does, which is kind of amazing, it's kind of like how Nigella Lawson's recipes are so precisely measured. They use the exact amount you need to get the chemical reaction you want and nothing more. With Tosi, everything is whipped about 3 times the length of time of everyone else.
And she's all about really intense flavor. So this has lemon juice and lemon zest and lemon extract and all sorts of stuff. Super intense flavor. So what we're going to do now is we're going to let that sit for a minute. I could probably leave it on low. I probably should leave it on low just so it doesn't separate on me. So sorry, we're going to have to talk over it. I'm going to put together the dry ingredients now, which is 1.5 cups of cake flour. You're noisy. Yeah, I'm going to have to leave it running because it wants to separate. So we'll have to work fast. Right, so it's 1.5 cups of cake flour. Again, I'm going to try and weigh this for y'all.
Is there anything I can begin with?
No, you put together the tea for me, which is fine. I'm going to have to start clearing down. If you would put that box of tea on the table so that I can get ready to grease the pan, that'd be good. So, hard to do scoop and sweep inside a bag, but we'll try.
We'll make it work.
We'll make it work.
Do it on the night.
Do it on the night. All right, 1. I know. Volumetric flour, not good. But that's what I have in these recipes, so that's what I'm working with, which is why I'm weighing it for us, so that we know what it is later. 2. 3. I'm making a mess. Right, so that's a 1.5 cups of cake flour, which is about 240 grams. Can you put that on the table out of my way? And then we need the tea. That's 9 bags of Lipton tea.
Do not spill the tea unless it's into the bowl. Sulfide for the big dog.
Some jokes are just for him.
A lot of them are.
All right, that's the tea. A teaspoon of baking powder and a teaspoon of salt. And these volumetric is just fine. Anything under a tablespoon is fine with our volume. Teaspoon of baking powder, not soda, and a teaspoon of salt. This is why I love this game. Cool. That can go away, that can go away, that can go away.
Okay, well, we've got to make the baking powder.
And the salt.
And the sugar?
Yeah, basically everything I need now is in here. Thank you. So I'm just going to whisk this together a little bit. So it all comes together. And it looks cool. It looks almost like chocolate chips. It's got the little dark tea flecks in it. The difference between baking powder and baking soda. Let me get this incorporated in, and we'll talk about it.
This is a kind of an interesting one, actually.
In fact, do you want to grab the baking powder, the baking soda, and the cream of tartar? Tartar. Right. So I'm going to very slowly kind of flick this into the bowl until it's incorporated, not over mixing it. I want it to stay huge and fluffy. And this is not the best bowl for this.
Fluffy.
It's so fluffy! It looks almost like poppy seeds with the tea. You can hear the motor start to work a little bit harder as it's incorporating it in. Almost there. Yeah, hear it? All right, last bit. And then, I'm going to give it a moment or two, and that's it. I'm going to stop it. Just make sure everything's off my fingers, off the sides of the bowl. Great, cool. And I'm going to finish this by hand so it doesn't get overmixed. So, take this bad boy and, within reason, take care of the beater. That's your cue.
Oh, could I assist with that?
Yes.
Good.
There you go.
Good. Thank you. Good.
Why don't you assist with that?
I would be happy to.
Baker assist.
Hey, Mer.
Hey, Mer, how you doing? So, as you can see, this is not fully done. There's a bunch of dry powder still on the sides, but I don't want to overmix it. So I'm just going to give it a stir or two to kind of incorporate all the last bits and scrape down the bottom to make sure there's nothing done sticking, and that's it. Nice, gloopy, thick batter. It smells really good. Can I taste some of it?
Please do.
We share cooties. It's cool.
Isn't that awesome? It is a very, very mild taste.
Yeah, it's definitely lemon. You have batter on the tip of your nose. You're adorable, and your chin. Okay, it's lemony, but the tea starts to come through too, so it's really nice. I am making tea because we are out of decaf coffee, and I'm sad. I also have no cake. Murder! I am sad for you that you have no cake. Okay, so next thing we're going to do is we're going to get this in the oven, and then we're going to talk about the difference between baking powder and baking soda. Okay? Cool.
Okay.
Right.
Do we need to grease these?
I'm going to take care of this one. All of that, except this, and my recipe.
Tidy.
Yeah. It's stable. Let's give it 2 minutes and we'll tidy it.
All right.
So that way, see, they never show you this part on the cooking show, right? There's just this army of assistants in the background that does everything. There's that clean. You done with the cutting board?
Yeah.
That's done. It just needs to be rinsed out and put away. Stand mixer is done and covered in flour like its job is to be.
That batter bears an uncanny resemblance to Oreo ice cream.
It looks like Oreo ice cream because it's got all the black and white flecks in it, right?
Yeah. Now, excess lemon juice, we good or not?
Let's put it back here with the excess egg whites. I can't make hollandaise without yolks, but you know, hey, that can go on the table. I'll take that from you. Trade. Cool. Just sprinkle the flour on the floor. I'm gonna have to sweep later anyway. Right, now we got some space to work.
And we're back in the room.
There's your iPad. Ooh, forgot this. Ugh. It's okay, I'm just gonna set it on the soap so it doesn't turn into concrete. Awesome, cool. Okay. Parchment. Because this is a parchment lined pan and a buttered pan. So I'm going to start by cutting the piece of parchment fit.
Just as a very quick aside, by the way, Jason Isaacs apparently continues to be the evil captain we both need and deserve.
Oh.
He is the voice of clearly the villain in Scoob, the new Scooby-Doo movie.
Bless.
And has been doing Zoom appearances to promote it. And apparently, his party pieces, he talks at length about how he doesn't do cheap promotional appearances. He's an actor, trained at RADA, for which point he takes the Royal Academy of the Dramatic Arts.
Is that here in the UK?
Yes.
Okay.
At which point he takes a long, long drink from a Scooby-Doo mug.
That is so you. You would do that.
His Zoom background is 3 bits of white paper, one of which says "Interesting Book Collection," one of which has a Sharpie frame drawn on it with "Family Photos" written inside.
Mer, we are making an Arnold Palmer cake. I'll do a recap just as soon as I get this in the oven.
Previously on baking.
Dong dong. Yeah, exactly. So what we're going to do is get ready. We're going to bake it in a quarter sheet pan. Okay, in the US, quarter sheet pan is a specific measurement. I have a spare one. I'll measure it afterwards. But this is what a quarter sheet pan looks like. It is half the size of a half sheet pan, which is half the size of a sheet pan, which are those gigantic ones you see in bakeries. But for home cooking, we tend to use, oh, look, there's my camera. Fun. Quarters and halves, depending on what we're doing. And this cake calls for a half. So I'm going to butter it with that leftover chunk of butter.
A playlist has been linked to in the chat.
Oh, dear.
A completely normal TMA playlist.
A completely normal TMA playlist?
Turn the Lights Off by Tally Hall. Body by Mother Mother. Who Are You Really by Nikki Echo. A complete list of fears ages 5 to 28 approx by The Yellow Dress. Hello by Adele. John by Apologies by Grace Potter. 4 by The Shade. The Deception by Frontiera.
Who made this? They win. They absolutely positively win. So I've buttered the heck out of this pan. Now I'm going to put the parchment paper on the bottom and make it stick, which means you just push it down and smush it to the edges. And then you butter the parchment.
That's a really good technique, and I've never seen that done before. I'm absolutely stealing that the next time I make cake. I still have stuff on my face.
You still have cake batter on your face. And then I'm going to use the rest of the butter wrapper to just get the top of the parchment paper. Highly scientific, no waste method. Cool. Now, I need this bad boy. I'm going to tilt it down so you can see.
In the immortal words of Joan Jett, ooh, spatula.
Really?
Yes. I'd do it again, too.
I know you would. That's part of the problem.
Probably will, in a couple of minutes.
Yeah, you probably will. All right, so cake batter goes in. Das Gluten Sie.
Das Gluten.
Blame yourself. Blame yourself.
I am a terrible influence.
You are. You truly are a wonderful, terrible influence on me. Right, so that's all, well, most of the cake batter in there. Hey, honey, would you hold that?
I'd love to, thank you.
So this bad boy is called an offset spatula. You don't need one of these. You can use a spoon, but you just dramatically eating cake batter at the chat now. But it makes it a heck of a lot easier if you're trying to spread things on.
Whoa.
You have to get closer so everybody can see how much cake batter you have all over your face. Yeah. This is what I put up with, I tell you. Okay, this is going to become a non-safe for work chat if you don't stop eating cake batter.
I'm fine.
Moving on.
I'm fine.
You use this to spread the cake out in the pan when you're not being distracted by Alistair's shenanigans. There we go. I've actually never done this before. I tend to cook cakes in cake rounds and then stack them on top of each other, but this is a new technique and I'm excited to see how it's going to work. Slightly terrified as well. So I'm just trying to get this basically as evenly as I can. I didn't make a lot of sheet cakes as a kid. We always either did stacked layers with my family's like favorite chocolate cake recipe, or we would do like a bunch of different shapes or something like that. But like sheet cake pans, sheet pan cakes. Sorry, not as much I think. All right, that looks pretty good. Here, hold that.
Okay.
I'm just gonna give it a wiggle. To even it out. Cool. In the oven it goes. I want 22 minutes. Like I said, the recipe calls for 30, but I've turned the oven down a bit, and I'm going to cook it for less because I have a fan oven, and then we can test it in 22 minutes. In it.
Time on target.
Go.
Activate.
Okay. Try. Third time's a charm. Brilliant. Okay. I love you.
I love you too.
So now the cake's. Oh my God! What's happened to my hair? Anyway, and the lens flare is going on. So we've got 22 minutes until we're going to check the cake. So I'm going to talk about a couple things, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to go move the laptop over to the kitchen table and have a seat and a drink of water.
Would you like me to make you a cup of tea?
I don't want any tea. Thank you.
Do you want a cup of coffee?
No, just my water would be great, which is AWOL. So if you would find my water.
I will find your water.
That would be great. And then we'll check the cake. If I just eat a large quantity of cheese and biscuits, that constitutes lunch, right? Abso-freaking-lutely.
Yeah, that does.
We call it the Pathfinder picnic around here, which is when, usually on a Friday lunch, we scrape together all the leftovers in the fridge, all the little bits of cheese, all the half-chopped raw vegetables, all the, like, pieces of, like, the 2 slices of ham left in the packet, and we just put it all out on a board, and we call it Pathfinder picnic. That's what lunch is. So, this is baking powder. It is a combination of baking soda and cream of tartar. Cream of tartar is a raising agent. If you've ever made snickerdoodle cookies, it calls for cream of tartar. Baking soda is a raising agent. We all know this. We've made the volcanoes. Baking powder is a combination of the two. And the reason it's a combination of the two is it's pH neutral. This is an acid. This is a base, which is why you use it in different recipes for different, I think it's an acid and a base, right? God, I hope I got that right. Which is why you use it in different types of recipes because you need it to combine with different sorts of chemicals. Most recipes, you just use baking soda because it is a chemical raising. These are all called chemical raising agents. Yeast is a raising agent that is not chemical. It's based on little critters and biology and gases and things like that. So whenever you make quick breads, we'd call them scones, most types of cookies are all using chemical leaveners. bread or anything where you're looking for that really kind of chewy, bubbly structure, pizza dough, stuff like that, you're using yeast as raising agents. When baking powder became impossible to find in this country for about 6 weeks, we just figured out the ratios of how to combine this and made our own because we had both of them in the house.
Just as a real quick aside, the Star Trek short tracks are coming out on Blu-ray on Monday.
All of them to
Yes,
date?
all of them to date. Those of you who have not
This
seen that,
is a biological yeast raising
Yes.
agent. This is Chungus. This is our sourdough starter. You can see how he's got the lines that came up to here. He's got some schmutz on the jar. That's how high he rose earlier in the day, and now he's sinking back down to the level of his label, which is where he's at when we refeed him. So this is one type of raising agent. These are different types of raising agents. Cool. I'm going to go move on over. Would you grab my water?
I would love to grab your water.
I
I'll
could
go
use
find
to
it.
sit down, to be honest. Cool. And we'll see how the cake is going to turn out. All right. Hold on, chat. We're about to move. If you get vertigo, you might want to look away for a minute. I'll let you know when we're back. There's my cute little banner over the kitchen.
Tell them about the bunting.
Yeah, see how it says coffee and contemplation? That's what sits over there. Stable. Because I am obsessed with bunting, unfortunately. It's like my favorite thing. One of my favorite things about the UK is this particular decoration style of lots of little cute things on strings that may or may not be flags. I have a lot of bunting.
Chocolate?
No, I don't want any chocolate. Thank you. I just want butter. And like the first set of bunting that was letters, Alistair's mom bought me for my birthday, one of the first years we were here in the UK. And as you know, my birthday is right near the 4th of July, which is American Independence Day. So I spelled out America, fuck yeah, in this twee little floral British bunting and hung it on the wall in my kitchen because that's my sense of humor. So yeah, we've got 18 minutes left on the cake. If I miss any questions, this is a good time for me to scroll back and answer them, or if you want to ask them again for my convenience, that would be terribly useful. Thank you very much for joining this ridiculousness. It's not really ridiculous. It's just maybe fussy, special, over the top, absolutely extra.
I will take extra. This is not ridiculous. This is not fussy.
It is fussy.
This is you having fun.
I am having fun.
Have fun.
Exactly. This is my birthday, so I'm having fun. I don't know what people do during this part of the stream when everything's in the oven. I mean, I guess you could watch me do the dishes, but that sounds boring as crud. We could talk about the recipe and what's left. So this cake has, I gotta do the math, like 5 different components. It has the cake that we just put in the oven. It's going to have, one of its filling layers is a lemon mascarpone, which we made the lemon curd for last night. It's in the fridge, and today, when we assemble the cake, we'll whip the mascarpone into it, and there'll be 1 layer. It has a soak, which is an intensely flavored liquid that you dab on top of the cake to give it extra flavor. It's supposed to have a tea jelly. I've made 2 batches of tea jelly now. None of them have set yet. I'm probably gonna make a 3rd when this cake is out of the oven and just soak it in ice and cross my fingers and hope it actually solidifies. If it doesn't work, it's just going to be a really flavorful tea soak. I'm going to substitute it and we'll just go on with it. Recipe request. Yes, I will copy that in just a second. The final layer that we're going to make this evening is called an almond tea crunch. And it's made with almond butter, toasted slivered almonds, and let's see if I can reach over and grab those.
Cookies.
The fancy cookies. So I can't remember the French word for these. It's like flutterines or something, but it's basically broken pieces of crepe. It's crepe-like super crunchy cookies. And apparently they will stay fully crunchy in a fat base which is why we're using almond butter for it. But they will go soggy if you expose it to liquid. So you literally make a crunch by combining this, a little bit of confectioner sugar, icing sugar, some almond butter, and some toasted almonds, and that will be another textural layer in the cake. There it is. It's feuilletine, something like that. Yeah, that's exactly the word, I think. So yes, let's open them. We don't need the whole packet to put in the crunch, so hey. Oh, they're individually wrapped. Even better. All right, cool. Oops, hey, honey. I tripped and threw one at you.
These are fancy.
These do look very fancy. Let's see what's in here.
You're gonna smash them up.
I'm gonna smash them up. Exactly. But first I'm gonna get them all over my keyboard, because that's the way I roll. So they're all little individually wrapped, and they are super crunchy. But yeah, it's basically if you took a crepe, look at how thin that is. Super, super thin. I can almost see you through it. Super, super, super thin layers. And think the world's thinnest fortune cookie crossed with a crepe.
Yeah, very much so.
So really super dry, flaky, thin.
Almost ginger snap.
I don't get a lot of ginger. I get a lot of almond from it, which is probably why they go in this. The recipe warns you not to try and make these yourself, to try and find them at a local bakery or to order them off the internet, because they're impossible to make at home. And I don't make croissants at home for a reason. It's too much work. So I ordered a box of these, and we need half a biscuit AMSR. Let's see. I have no idea if you can hear that, but they're super crunchy. So that's one of the components. And then it's almond butter and sugar and toasted almonds. And I cheated. I bought the ones that had already been sliced and toasted. So, some things in life are just not worth it. So that's one of the layers. Then the reason I'm so upset about the tea jelly is it's the top layer of the cake. This is a 3-layer cake. So you cook that sheet, and then what you do is you punch. You take a cake ring and you punch out 2 layers worth of cake. And we're going to do this. We're going to do a 6-inch cake. So you punch out 2 of these, but it's a 3-layer cake. So what you do is you take all the scraps left over on the pan for the bottom layer, then you push them all down and smush them in. And that's the bottom layer, because she says nobody sees it. And then what you do is, because the cake is going to be taller than this ring, we're going to use... This is called acetate. So it's like clear food safe plastic that will line the inside of the ring. But as you can see, it's taller. So you stack the cake up inside this thing on a little sheet pan, and then you put it in the freezer overnight for all the layers to solidify. And the top of that cake is supposed to be the tea jelly. And I don't have tea jelly yet. I just have tasty tea goo. So I'm probably going to try one more batch of tea jelly with a different recipe that uses gelatin, as opposed to this recipe, which is using a pectin, but the pectin isn't setting. So I'm going to try that. And if not, then it won't have tea jelly on the top. I'll have to think of something. And we'll just use the failed jelly as the soak instead. And try not to lose any sleep about it. Maybe what I'd do then is I'd make a double batch of the crunch. And put the crunch on top. That might not be a bad idea. I'll have to think about it.
That's good to work around.
Yeah, that might be the way I have to work around. But yeah, I'm gonna gender tasty tiku. Yeah, totally agreed. So that's what we're gonna give away. Failed jelly soak sounds like a character. Sounds like spell components. No, it's a drop. It's like a random garbage drop that you would find in some dungeon adventure game. Failed jelly soak.
Or the name of the bartender, Mos Eisley.
Mos Eisley's bartender? Failed jelly soak. That's rude, though. That's pejorative. Let's not call him failed.
So spell it F-A-L-E. Failed jelly soak.
Fail. Faille. I don't know.
Did
Wikipedia.
you know it's now been confirmed that Mark Hamill is in every Star Wars movie other than the prequels?
I'm sure he is. You want to come sit over here so we can hear him?
And The Mandalorian. He voices a droid.
Don't let the jelly win. Exactly. So I'm going to make another one with gelatin and see. There we go. Fail. FAELD' jelly soak.
There we are.
Failed a jelly soak of the Boston jelly
The
soaks.
Bostonian jelly soaks, yes.
Exactly. I love it. It does sound like a potion ingredient, doesn't it? And you're talking to somebody who played a 15-year Deadlands campaign where one of the most critical things that we had to try and find every month for our werewolf to make a suppressant for him was pickled brine. And I can't tell you how many general stores we had to go raiding to try and find a barrel with pickled brine in it.
Margarita is also slightly underselling herself. Her characters proved so pivotal to Deadlands that they're canonical. They have in fact been baked into the timeline of the game.
I played the game for a long time, and I'm good friends with the creators, so that's a cool thing. That, and there are Kickstarter levels where you can do that, which is awesome. Sounds cool. So yeah, that's what we're trying to do. This is day 2. Like I said, yesterday we made a chunk of the components. Today is baking the cake, and then this evening, probably around 5:30, 6:30ish, somewhere in that window, we've got an appointment at 4, so I have to keep an eye on. Can you please get my phone to make sure we haven't missed the Parcel Force collection today?
I checked it just now for the Twitch authorization, and the Twitch authorization code was the only reminder up front.
Okay,
so.
cool. Sorry. I'm doing a laptop swap, and they're collecting the old one today. And we have an appointment at 4 o'clock today, which is programming check-in for Worldcon, which is the end of July. We don't have programming yet for Worldcon, but the check-in sessions are mandatory because this is a purely online event, and they're only running through the course of the weekend. And this was one of the only appointments which lined up with UK time reasonably. And it's not really reasonable because the person we're going to be on line with, it'll be 3 a.m. New Zealand time, but it'll be 4 p.m. the previous day in UK time. But that's the only one we could make lined up with the ones offered. So we have to do that today. We're not eating the cake later today. No. The reason this is... Oh, those are puppers and motion capture suits.
These are the dogs of The Last of Us 2.
Oh, you should put the link to that in the chat. They are very cute. There's a check. Yeah. There's a check-in thing. You have to do a participant registration-y something or other. Ping me later, and I'll forward you the details if you don't already have them. What was I saying? Worldcon, participant check-in. Time differences, laptop handover. No, it's completely gone from my brain. Let me scan back through, see if I can pick it back up. Zalia, I hear you. I might be in your camp.
As might I.
I might also wind up being a spectator because we don't have... eating the cake. Thank you, Mer. Because we don't have any programming confirmed, which is something for a finalist like Alistair. But
I feel very good about it.
When will we eat the cake? So the cake, after it's assembled today, is frozen overnight. And then tomorrow, which is my actual birthday, I will take it out of the freezer in the morning and put it in the fridge. And then we will eat the cake in the afternoon whenever we feel like eating cake. Because I do not want to have cake for breakfast on my birthday. The day after, that's totally legit. Sunday morning video game stream with birthday cake! Yes, that. Tomorrow is cake eating day. That is totally going to happen. And it's the other reason, excuse me, we're only making a 6-inch cake. It's because there's just the 2 of us, and this sucker's going to be like this tall. So, yeah. Maybe next year I'll just make birthday cookies. It might be a little easier. But, I had time. So, that's what we're doing. How is our timer doing? I can't see it from here. It'll go off. That's why I set the timer. Cool. Yeah, small cake. I think this recipe can be scaled up to an 8-inch ring, but we're going with 6-inch Fnord. Because that's the smallest size of the thing. So I don't have to try and figure out how to adjust this thing. It is adjustable. I just know I'm gonna pinch my fingers something horribly if I try to do it. She said trying to do it live on the camera. Oh, okay. Ooh, science! Look, I figured it out. Okay, so it has a safety system. It's basically a bunch of, it's all coiled up. Can you see? So you basically slip off the safeties. Ugh. This is going to end in tears. I just know it. Let's not. I figured out how. I've unlocked the concept. I don't have to prove it to myself and make a fool of myself.
Yes, Haven, this is supposed to be our long weekend off. And
Oh.
look, a pigeon. Also,
Oops.
This is fun. We enjoy doing it.
It is fun. And Sunday morning, it's kind of a nice ritual now, especially since we don't start till 10. Before, we were doing like 8:30 in the morning on a Sunday, and I'm kind of like, no, I like sleeping in.
And we will, of course, ensure that we do not stream on Sunday at the same time as the Merediths. There are no beeves. This is not a B5.
There's no point. There's no point either, to be honest. So, yeah. David.
Abort.
It just happens. It just happens all the time. That is the stream of consciousness that comes from our brains. Can you go grab the timer for me so I can
Because
see
you're worried that it's not going to...
My one dot in time sense is going.
There's like 5 people who get that.
I know there's only 5 people in the chat who get that joke.
3 minutes.
3 minutes. All right. Very well.
Also, it's looking chunky.
Is it risen a lot?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Cool. Oh no. Oh no.
Oh no. Oh no.
No, well, we'll see. We'll give it time. It's got 3 more minutes. I know. We share most of the same cultural references, which is why we get along so well. Is we make the same jokes.
And the fact that you're amazing.
Well, you're amazing too.
I'm amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So after the cake is out of the oven, we'll end the stream. I have to go finish editing Alistair's newsletter, and
I have to go and finish writing.
Okay, I love you. Bye bye. Do you need to go finish writing?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. That's fine. We have somebody in the chat who meows at their boyfriend, and the boyfriend meows back.
I totally get that.
Yeah, call and response, very important. So yeah, we'll finish the stream. We'll let the cake cool. I'm trying stupid tea jelly again. We'll defeat it! I will! It will be the tea jelly of victory! Victory will be mine. Finish the newsletter, 4 o'clock thingy, and then we'll come back and we'll...
The thing I love is the gear shift.
Hush now!
It just goes so effortlessly from... And now this.
Well, I'm always angry.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm in the purple shirt. See? Nice whole reference.
No.
There will be victory flavored tea jelly at some point. And then we'll build the cake, and then we'll put it in the freezer, and then tomorrow...
we'll put it inside our faces.
And then tomorrow we can put it inside our faces once it's all done. It has to be pretty before we vanquish it. That's rude, but I don't care.
And tomorrow you will have presents, happy.
Tomorrow there will be birthday presents as well?
Because it is your day of Jubilee.
Yay! I like birthday presents. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Cool. Okay, I'm going to go check the cake. I know there's only a minute left.
There's like a minute left.
I don't care! I have to check the cake! Come talk to people while I check the cake. You're it.
Okay.
Oh, no. He's not even slightly close to done. Wow. Oh my gosh. He's escaping!
Hi, how's everybody been?
Go back in the pan!
Did you hear that?
He's like bubbling over the... He's trying to escape. Should I rotate it maybe? Yeah, that corner's getting... Let me rotate it.
You got like 30 seconds left on the timer.
Okay. I'm going to rotate it. Just to make sure that it doesn't...
The sound of everything being fine.
Everything is fine! I just don't want it to... No, I don't want to touch it because now I'm worried.
Marguerite is fine. She's fine. It's all fine. She's just conducting some heavy duty cake crimes. Morning, Ma.
I'm trying to rotate it without bonking into the side of the oven. Ooh. Ooh.
It's all good. It's all good.
Okay. Definitely needs a couple more minutes though.
Right.
I'm gonna give it like
Well, wasn't
4 more minutes.
Wasn't this what you intended? You deliberately underset the timer.
I know.
Yes, yes.
And I can set up a cooling station for it now too. Format it.
I'm laughing. Everyone's laughing. It's okay. I've been practicing.
Awesome. Okay.
I'll give you your seat back.
Well, you can sing on camera. I don't mind.
The cake isn't so much attacking as
It's
more
not attacking. It's just
surging. There is a cake surge going on.
It's attempting to exceed expectations.
It's overachieving as
It's an overachieving cake.
It just wants to please you.
It's a quarter sheet pan. How come professional bakers always come out much prettier than mine?
Because they've studied for years.
Well, that and they have a lot of practice. They get to practice like every single day. And for me, this is like an annual special event. So we'll see. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. The cake will be fine.
Cake surge.
Cake surge.
Do.
That could be a song. Cake surge could be like a theme song.
Here you go. Have your crêpe on tea.
Oh, that's very sweet of you because I can tell you were thinking I'll have half. How about that?
I don't want it. Take it.
Lie like dog.
I have blueberry dairy milk chocolate in there.
You lie like dog.
Just see if that's still there when I get up.
5, 4, 3, 2, 2.5. Wait, I'm going the wrong way now.
2 3/4.
Yeah, that's how you know you were in trouble. When somebody said 2.5. No, I do not want the cake to overachieve and resent me and need therapy. It won't live that long. I will eat an unfulfilled cake.
How did this get this dark this fast?
I don't know. Blame Mur. I would totally... Cake therapy sounds like the best thing in the world.
You talk about your feelings and also buttercream.
I didn't make buttercream for this.
You don't need to make buttercream for this.
Like I said, if the tea jelly truly vexes and thwarts me, next year will be Revenge of the Tea Jelly. And now I'm thinking jellyfish that are holding like little teacups. Steampunk jellyfish. Tea jellies. Anyway, I'll just make a double batch of the crunch. And I'll put that on the top instead.
It's fine. It's still cake. It's still going to be delicious.
It's still going to be cake with lots of yummy, tasty layers that coordinate. I mean, that's basically what I want out of life, so. You have fed your starter. What is your starter's name, Mur? More crunch. Yeah, I think more crunch is definitely called for. Sourdough starters, well, they don't have to have names, but I think in order to live their full potential.
It's like plants. They need an identity.
I've only named one of the plants in the house right now. I used to have 2, but one of them died, and one of them is still alive. And it is a African violet in a purple pot, and it's named Jen, like She-Hulk, Jen Walters. But there are a whole bunch of other little plants, but I haven't named them yet. I haven't really gotten around to it. I don't tend to name plants. No, and this is because I want pets.
Yes.
I want a kitty, and we can name the kitty.
Pablo and Nadine's starter is called Freddie Mercury.
Oh my God, that is a fabulous name.
Mrs. Harriet.
I love it. Okay. 2 T's, I forgot. Freddie Mercury is an excellent name for a sourdough starter. Yes, Eldritch, this is the Momofuku Bar Arnold Palmer cake that I'm attempting to recreate. Like I said, the jelly is not... Ooh! Oh. The jelly is not cooperating. But everything else is fine. Okay, let's take a look. He's escaping! No. It's still too delicate on the top. It's not bouncing back.
Another 4 minutes?
Yeah, another 3 minutes. But it's not far now because the corners are starting to get done, which is the problem with the sheet pan. But the middle is still not rigid. Ignored.
Hey-o.
He's not bouncing back to the touch yet, so it's going to need some more time. All your plants are named dad joke puns. Oh my gosh. It buffered Momofuku milk bar recipe or not? Yeah, well, it is that cake, but that recipe hasn't been publicly made available, so I'm using recipes from different blog sites. Their cookbook called Milk. We have that, but the Arnold Palmer cake isn't in it. So yes, it is the Momofuku Milk Bar Arnold Palmer cake, but the recipe is not an official recipe.
No.
Because I can't find an official recipe. I don't think it's been released. I'm hoping she's going to release another cookbook that will have it in it, and that will solve the mystery of the tea jelly.
You are legitimately seething.
I do not like being thwarted. I followed the directions. I followed the directions when I thought they had a typo. I special ordered the pectin for this, and it's still not working.
You will have your revenge.
So I'm going to have to try something. I'm going to try it again. New recipe blog idea.
Yes, please do.
That you will do in your spare time?
Your copious spare time, though.
Well, we have such copious spare time, don't we? It's so dangerous. Bart. Yeah. I've made that pie before as well.
The crack pie.
Yeah, the
one's called crack. My god.
It has been renamed. I can't remember what it's been renamed. But yeah, it's good. It's a type of pie that's really, really intense. So it's not the kind of pie I tend to crave when I want a pie, but it is good. It's like a Quaker pie. It's leftover ingredients kind of pie.
Well, we've traveled thousands of miles because of a religious dispute, and we have buckles on our hats. Who wants sugar? Basically.
Well, it was basically the vice that they have. Hey, the American baking industry, pastry industry would not exist if it wasn't for Quakers, and I'm very grateful for them.
What are we going to do? Illegally seize control of a country or your cake? Both. Both is good.
Yeah, I think one of being both. Exactly. Now I'm just keeping an eye on things because I don't want the edges to burn. I might pull it out and do a skewer test after this.
Skewer. She's poised. She's moving.
I can't help it. See, I only have 3 seconds left on the timer. It's timely.
Jax's green bell pepper plant is Dr. Pepper.
Of course.
Spiral grass is, of course, Michael. Red ginger is Ed Sheeran, etc. Those are all good.
Okay, this is still a little bit gooey, but I gotta hold the courage of my convictions.
Give it 2 more minutes. Is anything toasted yet? Is it all like deep brown?
The corners look to be a bit thinner and therefore a bit darker, but that's the nice thing about the ring punching the cake out is that you can just pull off the parts that look overcooked when you're building the bottom layer. It's almost not sticking to the skewer, so I'm going to give it just 3 more minutes.
Think of this as banana bread protocol. This is a cake that is not bound by the laws of God and man. This is a cake that will be finished when it is finished.
I'm trying to do all the math, so I've done 22 minutes, then we did 4 minutes. Now we're doing another 3 minutes. So that's 29 of the estimated 30. So we're still good. Even with a conviction on. So, okay. Hold. I have to hold. Besides, this is an excuse to sit down and not do the dishes again.
Yes.
There's so many dishes. My singing to my plant cements my status as the building where there's nothing wrong with singing to your plants. I will only eat cake that is not bound by the laws of God and man. You're going to have a lot of baking to do.
Yeah, more out of that.
Okay. See, now I'm just concerned it's not going to come out of the come out of the pan.
Leave it to cool completely. It will contract.
Exactly.
This was the big thing, strangely, which we learned from we do make 2 types of pizza. There is slightly fancy sourdough pizza, and we actually went on a course in Valentine's Day 8,000 years ago to learn how to make this, which is really, really nice.
She was on GBBO, wasn't she?
Yes, the tiny Russian lady.
Yeah, exactly.
I love how I do this to indicate how short this lady was, to the internet. And we also do what Chef Roy Choi refers to as bowling alley pizza.
Yeah. Which is my family's junky, garbage, all in a pan, gloopy, hot, cheesy mess pizza. But it's good and fast and comforting, and you can throw anything on it.
And the weird thing, thank you by the way, Jax. The weird thing with the bowling alley pizza is we've experimented an awful lot. Sometimes we do the thing Pizza Hut does, where you throw polenta on the bottom of the pan to stop it from sticking. Sometimes we just oil the hell out of the pan, and it feels like a crapshoot. You know, sometimes it'll just lift straight out all in one piece,
and it's all nice and crispy and browned on the bottom. And other times, you could probably use a couple more minutes in the oven, but I'm hungry.
But the big take home from the last time we did this was if you can actually leave it till it cools, it just lifts straight out.
It does a much better job. Okay, maybe Nancy. 18 seconds on the timer.
Your internal time sense is uncanny. You know that, right? Which one of the two pizzas is better? I would have to say the bowling alley pizza. The sourdough pizza is delicious, and you get a really, really good crust from it. But it requires more work, and I appreciate the spontaneity of the bowling alley pizza more.
So here's what we're gonna do, since I'm slightly concerned. The cake looks like it's done, but I'm worried that the edges are starting to get a little too round.
Okay.
So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna leave it in the oven, but I'm gonna turn off the heat and leave the door
coasting
shut.
maneuver. I like it.
And I'm gonna let it kind of coast for about half an hour, which should be enough for the residual heat to give it like the equivalent of 2 more minutes in the oven.
Mm-hmm.
And then it can start to cool, and then I'll pull it out and let it cool.
Do you want to like set a timer for 10 minutes or something and check it just in case?
No, what I really want to do is leave the oven on for a few more minutes. My confidence is shaken now because the tea jelly is...
It's all right. It really is.
I think it'll be fine. I'm going to give it 3 more minutes.
Give it 3 more minutes, then pop the oven.
And then I'm going to just turn the oven off.
Yep.
And then let it cool.
We got this.
And I think it'll be just fine. It looks fine. It's just, for some reason, it's thicker in the middle and skinnier on the edges, which tells me that the oven isn't level, which is really annoying.
Now, we've known this for a while. That's same with the hob.
And like I said, I don't mind losing the overcooked edges because of the way that you punch the cake out. That's fine, but I just want to make sure it's all the way done through in the middle, because if I cut a nice round and it's gloopy on one side or undercooked on one side, that's not gonna be nice. So
by those same lights, surely what we can do is
that's exactly it. We're eating the cake. We're not serving this to Ball Hollywood. I'm not worried about it if it's a little rustic, shall we say?
Yeah, exactly.
It's rustic. It'll be fugly. It'll be ugly delicious. That's all I care about.
And besides, even if it's a little gloopy in the middle, just do the thing of that's the bit that you just push together.
Yeah, exactly. That's the part we just kind of eliminate, so...
I love how baking is a lot like engineering. After a while, you're just like, no, screw it. Just shove that onto that. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Put some more
lubricant on that part. It'll be fine. We just go on with it.
One of my oldest friends is a guy who retired at 35 because he basically invented the ultimate kettle thermostat. And this is Pete. You'll be resolutely unsurprised. And he was a huge... Basically, he's quietly brilliant. And he wandered into engineering because it looked like a laugh. And it was, and he reassured me more than any other technical discussion I've ever had, where he went, so you know how all that thing about how bridges have maximum stresses and that kind of thing? Yeah, that's just the number we make up. It's all right. It can usually take much, much more than that.
I can't tell whether to be comforted or
terrified. Beyond. I mean, you've met Pete, so comfort and terror are kind of his raison d'etre.
Yeah. Exactly.
This is a man whose first child is called Magnus, second child is called Maximus, and who got bored one day and bought a brewery.
Do they really get bored and buy a brewery?
That's what happens.
Huh? Somebody outside.
Oh, hey.
There we go. Right, I'm going to turn the oven off. Yeah, Magnus and Maximus.
Magnus and Maximus Gelling.
And their daughter's name is Freya, if I remember correctly. Right. What will be, will be. Oh, hold on. I'm going to look at it now.
What will be, will be. Aside from this, I mean, in his defense, it was
No, that looks good. All right, cool.
it's a Manxbury, so it's like a room with some booze in it.
But it's like award-winning, isn't it?
Oh,
He's
God,
won
yeah.
some awards, I think.
Oh, he does. He and Becky do trade shows.
What are you
now.
doing to your thumb?
Well, a couple of weeks back, I burnt my thumb really badly, so the skin's coming off it. So
maybe not doing it on camera.
Yeah, that sounded much grosser once I'd articulated it.
You want to show me size?
Now. That would be great. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool. Okay.
I love you.
Okay, I love you. Half a cookie.
Yeah, it's for you.
Oh, you're gonna try to win this war of the war wills.
Here's mon petit fromage.
Don't. We're not gonna get into West Wing quotes. We'll be here all day. It's a bit gross. Yeah, exactly. Okay. I don't want to take it out of the oven yet. So I'm gonna let it. Now he's picking his thumb at me. And now he's innocently looking at his iPad like he's not doing anything wrong. It's okay. So I'm going to wrap this up. I'm going to let the cake cool. I'll take a picture of it and put it on Twitter and do you pick your thumb at me, son? And I will let it cool for like an hour, and then I'll post a photo of it. And you can see how the edges are a little overcooked and the middle is a little taller, but we'll see how it goes. I'm going to go make another batch of tea jelly, and Alistair is going to go finish his newsletter, and then we'll be back here 6-ish.
Have you seen this?
Oh, the little steampunk teen octopus. That's so cute. Who drew that?
Specky.
Well done, Specky. Gosh, you guys are so fast. You're so fast at the art. Murray, yes, I would love to cross animals today, but it's probably going to be late tonight because I ain't got no time. But later today, yeah, crossing of animals. I think that's everything. Thanks for joining in, and we'll see you a little bit later this evening when hopefully this all comes together.
Join us later today for part 3.
It is part 3, isn't it?
It is part 3.
Day 2, part 3. Oh God, this is just such a ridiculously epic thing. I know but that's not too late for you. That is true. Okay, late for me is not too late for Mur for Animal Crossing. Deal. All right. Oh, and thank you for the composer's wig that you sent me. It's so cute. I have one of the noble coats as well, and I'm gonna wear them together and play the piano. So, alrighty. I'll talk to you later, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us. See you later. Bye.